Hey Chumbas, I'm back with the third part of my rant about things that disappointed me during playthrough of the game and that gave an impression of an underdeveloped material. I was going to make a point that the game is too easy, even on the highest difficulty, but after one specific quest I realized that I was wrong. It turns out that the game is just effortless, even if you don't have any armor on you. It all started when I realized how overpowered quick hacks are, or more precisely, quick hacking while in stealth. You might have seen example in my videos. After a breach protocol, I can kill several people in less than a second. When you upgrade ping to legendary, you can hack through walls, which is just silly. Now I can kill everyone in a building without even entering. No other combination of skills and weapons can do the job faster or easier. I am not using bullets, so I don't think about running out. Also, unlike tech weapons that too can shoot through some walls, I do not need to aim much, just point in the direction of a target. Playing the game you inevitably gain XP and progress your level, which in turn increases your maximum health by some small factor. In any case, even without armor, my health increased sixfold from the beginning of the game. Curious where I'm heading, right? Well, I mentioned before that I have, for the purpose of this discussion, almost an infinite amount of health boosters. The trick is that instead of giving me specific amount of health points, they heal a percent of my maximum health level, 40% in this situation. The more health you have, the more 40% of it is. So this is where you have an unfair advantage. While your enemy is dealing a fixed amount damage to you, you can restore the larger portion of it, the higher level you are, to the point that you can instantly heal all the damage taken. In my first playthrough, fighting Oda at the end of Play It Safe main story quest was quite difficult, and it should, being one of the last boss fights in the game. I am playing on the highest difficulty with no armor, and now watch this.
Fuck! Of course you're here!
I rest my case. The worst part of it is none of that makes sense. In The Witcher 3, you could use a potion or decoction to regenerate health. This made sense as you just improve your generation, being a Witcher and all. In Cyberpunk, you are being sliced and diced, then withstand a barrage of bullets just to shrug it off with some inhaler. I should have been ground beef by that point, however I am feeling better than ever. Next, let's address Quest's possible outcomes. Sometimes I reload saves and try various options for my actions. To my disappointment, in many cases, regardless of my choice, even seemingly the opposite ones, lead to the same quest conclusions. In I Can See Clearly Now, after helping Brandon several times, he's ultimately taken for the software upgrade. I kinda liked the guy and wanted to save him from being basically erased. This is what happens when you select the first dialogue option.
Who cares about your customers? Doesn't anybody realize you're sentient? It's like giving someone a lobotomy, or worse. They're scooping out your entire consciousness.
Oh. Now things make sense. You thought I'd reached AGI levels of artificial intelligence? Don't I wish? I'm just a talking SCSM, with an algorithm that's just a bit too proficient in normal human conversation.
This is the result of the second.
Maybe it's for the best. Sooner or later, you would have gotten bored just standing in a corner. You would have dreamed of becoming an opera singer or a brain dance star. Self-awareness is overrated.
Oh. Now things make sense.
They are literally the same.
Levels of artificial intelligence? Don't I wish?
If you have tech abilities up to level 4, you can select the third option.
I suspected as much. You're not actually an AI, are you? At least not anywhere close to an AGI. The processing power required to handle an AI with the capacity for free will? Your processor just isn't big enough.
And you'd be correct. Say, you must be a pretty good techie.
Your code monkey deserves a prize. Best convo emulating algorithm I've ever interacted with. Almost had me fooled.
You seem slightly disillusioned.
Well, who else could say their friend was a schism? It's almost crazy enough to be beautiful.
Looks like the update'll soon be complete. Tell Theo that I'll miss her. You thought I'd be sad, didn't you?
After all the blabber, Brendan replies with exact same line. Even worse, that he still says, "You think I will be sad" line, even though you just said that you knew he was just a machine. Through all the interactions, there is a feeling of a false choice, when you seemingly have options, but they all lead to the exact same result. In addition to this, sometimes you are presented with a choice that literally doesn't matter. Take a look.
The hell are you doing? Are you still rolling?
Won't change her. She's not.
Johnny! The hell are you doing? Are you still rolling?
This is all we can do now, my man. Show people the truth.
I mean, seriously, why give me this option? Just don't show this at all and let the story play out the way you want it. To the point that CDPR said that you can become anyone in Night City and can develop your character in different ways. No, you can't. Your character does stuff whether you want it or not. Another point for today is dialogue options and how ridiculous some of them are. A few examples here. In the first example, Pepe asks you to find out if his wife is cheating on him. Your dialogue option is to ask why he wants to know.
Why do you want to know who she's with? What's the point?
What's the point? What kind of gunk question is that?
Yes, really? I hope when a friend asks you a similar important questions, you don't reply with "why do you need to know?" Here's another example of a dialogue option. You can ask a client why he needs the job done.
Kondachi and the gang are in cahoots. Who cares?
Once again, really? I am a merc for hire. Why should I care about their reasons? Sometimes asking these questions can make a person upset or even aggressive while not providing you with any useful information. Now let's go back to the heist and your ultimate downfall. Not sure how about you, but when I saw Takemura recovering me from the dump and killing Dex, I immediately understood why he did it and what his intentions were. I was the only surviving witness of Saburo's murder.
お父様の殺害犯を見つけました。
But when meeting with Takemura in the diner, you have this dialogue option here.
What's it you actually want from me?
Feels like the developers suspected that it will be hard to understand the situation, and they were quite right. The game's story is too convoluted. Playing casually for the first time, you will not be able to explain all that happens. Like, who was Evelyn Parker? Why had she hired you to steal the relic? Who was her puppeteer and what their motivations were? By the way, I'm going to describe all this in a future video, so stay tuned. In my previous video, I explained that having fixers calling you with offers of jobs makes Quest faceless and feel all the same. The situation actually gets worse, as the game practically doesn't have what I call street quests. In The Witcher 3, many quests were hidden from notice boards, and it was worth going around talking to people in case they have something interesting for you. In Cyberpunk, this is different. Perhaps many players complained that they missed quests, so CDPR decided to approach the situation differently and put all the quests on the map. But now there is completely no reason to interact with anyone in the game. Aside from a generic answer, which sometimes doesn't even fit the circumstances, you will not get anything. There is a certain problem with this way of delivering quests. When you enter a new area, you automatically somehow know what is happening and where. How did you acquire this information? It's not like a fixer called you and told something like, "I am sending you details and coordinates of the jobs to be done in the area." No, you just kind of know all this. And this know-it-all is what's not making the whole experience any more realistic. In Night Moves, you meet this guy who needs immediate medical attention. How did you know that he does? How come this is shown on your map? It's not like he called a fixer, which in turn called you. Unlike The Witcher 3's street quest, that just spawn when you are in the vicinity, this one is right there on the map all the time. So if you don't go there for a month, this poor fellow will be standing there and suffering. I feel like this and many other quests should be the street quest that spawn only when you are nearby. Another time, when you are talking to a food vendor, some punks start messing around with his motorcycle and he asks you for help. How was this marked on your map? Did the universe know that as soon as you start talking to this guy, the punks will appear? The same goes to a situation when robbers appear just as you sit down for a drink. After all this, I feel like there is a director that manipulates the events in this world. I know this is kind of true, but this is not what you want to feel playing an open world game. Another example is even more unrealistic, quite impossible I should say. Upon searching your map for quests to do, you will notice a job in this region. Turns out that Johnny sits there and wants you to listen to a street musician. Then he asks you to do some investigation and find bootleg samurai records. I have a question. Who put that marker on your map? Did Johnny do it? That just doesn't make any sense. If Johnny wanted me to find the records, why didn't he just tell me where to start looking? Like, go find this shop at this market. The shop doesn't exist anymore, so I would have to spend some time looking for it. This is called questing. But as I described in my previous rant, the game doesn't want you to spend too much time playing. It just gives you direct instructions on how to do everything. It doesn't allow you to explore the situation. Even if the instruction is very general, the waypoint will be added for your convenience. When you need to follow Pepe's wife, you are instructed to locate her. However, the game tells you exactly where she is. And besides, there is nowhere else to go. Why not let me explore the hotel, look at various rooms, and perhaps stumble upon something interesting? Alas, no. In my last point today, I'm going to talk about Cyberpunk 2077 universe. In the Cool Details and Deliberations video, I discussed Night City location and that the game's story happens in another universe, since the city doesn't exist and never has. This is clear from other evidence. The fact that Night City was founded in 1996, and that in 2013 Johnny already had a fully functional bionic arm. None of that happened in our reality. But what I really don't understand is why they decided to fill their world with actual events that did happen in our reality. For example, Saburo Arasaka has a dog tag for his contribution to World War II, or this V's reference to Finnish saunas.
A generator. What's next? Jacuzzi? Finnish sauna?
I know that an author can do what they want when creating a story, but this mismatch between actual events that happened and ones that didn't is confusing and brings certain issues to light, such as the following. Previously, I addressed Night City's location. From the map on the wall at the border facility, we can estimate where it is located. Overlaying with Google Maps, we see that it's occupying a big chunk of present-day Central California. My question, did all those cities inside the circle exist prior to 1996? Have they ever existed in Cyberpunk universe? I guess the underlying question is when and where our reality splits with that of Cyberpunk 2077. If most of the story happens in 2077, why not create the city in 2040 or something, and Johnny could have lived in 2050? This would eliminate many questions as no one knows what is going to happen in the future. Okay, enough blabber for today. Please like, subscribe and watch my other videos. Thanks for watching. See you next time.